I'm telling you, man.
We are back, guys. We're back, guys.
Hey, we are back. We are live. We are alive. We are breathing. We're
live again.
Somewhere in a happily ever after, and it's called Action Burger, 292 Graham Avenue.
Yeah, we are.
Come swing by. Enjoy
Yes.
video games. Enjoy movies.
Yes.
Enjoy comics. Enjoy deliciously healthy, if you want, or the best of all things, greasy, unhealthy, sickening, delicious, amazing burgers and fries.
Burgers, cheeseburgers, and fries. But today, in this new video, in this new live stream video, we are going to talk about the big news that happened on Monday from Daily Wire Plus. They announced on a new streaming service that's made for kids and families called Bent Key, which is named after the co-CEO of Daily Wire, his bent key that he's worn around his neck for the last 20, 25 years. And he wanted to, at first they were going to call it Daily Wire for kids.
Daily Wire Plus, Children's Plus, Daily Wire Children's Plus.
Daily Wire Children's Plus, Daily Wire Children. But he realized putting the name Daily Wire there would make it political. And he didn't want this service to be political. He just wanted it to be for kids and for families and to be educational, to be something sweet for kids and families who are conservative, who don't want to see woke ideologies every time they're watching kids shows and
Ladies
don't want
at that commercial for Go-Gurts. Wait, this isn't Go-Gurts. This is some raining fucking random fettuccine.
And they don't want their kids to either be brainwashed or to be confused by something because it's like very adult, very political, and then their parents. Because for me, if your kid is struggling with something, or if your kid is going through that and it's like growing up and is having thoughts and feelings, that type of education should come from the parents. It shouldn't come from anything else. I truly believe that. And so here, Bent Key, they just want kids entertainment for families, for kids, for parents who are conservative, parents who are not conservative, who don't want their kids to be exposed to too much stuff out there. And I think this is a wonderful thing. And with the announcement, they announced they're doing a new Snow White movie starring Brett Cooper, who is a conservative commentator who has a show called The Comments Section by Brett Cooper on YouTube. She works at Daily Wire for Ben Shapiro, and she's going to be starring as Snow White. And she's not a bad actor. She has a really good voice. I liked it. Did you see the trailer?
I have not seen the trailer yet. No. No. Let me recant those words because it's not entirely accurate. I saw 15 seconds of it while I was sort of busy cooking food. I didn't watch it.
You don't want to watch the whole thing now?
Yes, let me watch it now.
So we're going to watch the trailer. I can't show it to you for copyright reasons, but we're going to watch it right now.
Probably lower the audio as well.
Well, the audio ain't going to mean nothing.
Well, no, because they can copyright. They can copyright the video.
I know.
Once upon a time.
Well, you don't have to roll it right back.
There we go.
She's just
She has a good voice.
In time, a prince would call.
It's a real squirrel. No CGI. Real deers. That's good. She has a good voice. She knows how to sing. And her dress, the costume looks great. She looks amazing. Hair looks amazing.
She looks perfect.
She looks just like Snow White. Yeah, she looks exactly the way Snow White, the way she's described in the book as white as the driven snow. That's Snow White.
And the hair,
that's Snow White. The hair looks great.
Hair is cool, right?
Yeah, the costume looks wonderful. I mean, she looks great. I think that's a good teaser. That's a good teaser.
I think it's a great teaser. And you know what's phenomenal about it is it doesn't do anything else. It just gets straight to the point.
Yeah.
Which is what I've missed from TV and television
and movies.
And movies. It just gets straight to the point. We don't need all this filler about how he got to the store 20 years ago and 5 minutes ago he got hit by a truck. And what is the point of going to the store then?
Yeah. And it looks like it's faithful to the book. It looks like it's faithful to Grimm Tales books, the stories. The costume looks great.
The costume is phenomenal.
If you're gonna make movies like this, it's gonna have politics or a message. You got to be slick with it. You got to be creative. There's nothing wrong with diversity. You just got to have great characters and a great story. And but the new Snow White with Disney Plus or Rachel Zegler, she's a really good actress. She's a great singer. But the thing she says about Snow White in the original movie is just so disrespectful to the point where people who are on the political left have turned on her. They were all criticizing her comments and what she was saying. People who are part of the LGBTQ community, people who are leftists who don't think it's anti-feminist to want to be in love and to want to be saved by Prince Charming and want to have a fantasy setting where they could escape and be saved by Prince Charming. Unlike real life, we don't need to be reminded of real life. There are a lot of women that don't want to be told watching a fantasy movie to be a girl boss and to be a leader and to be a CEO of a business. A lot of women just want to be in a fantasy where Prince Charming is saving them, because in real life, you don't have a lot of Prince Charmings. And people have been making that point for the last year.
I want to make this point, because this does get a little into politics, but it is entertainment. But it does get into politics.
People want to escape. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're a liberal, progressive, conservative. You just want to watch something to escape and have fun. Now, I will say there are some settings that are warranted to have
political commentary,
like Starfield taking place in the future, where they got the non-binary pronouns. I'm like, that's great. It takes place in the 24th century. In the future, gender is going to be not a big deal. Everybody's going to be whoever they want to be. And Arthur C. Clarke predicted that in his books about transhumanism. But in a fantasy setting, taking place in Snow White, like in the medieval times where there were no cars, there were barely any guns. I mean, this is a fantasy setting.
What guns did exist?
And I love the
cannons on naval ships as well as military.
Yeah,
there weren't muskets. There weren't anything similar to that of a freaking musket.
Yeah,
it was at most not even a flintlock. A flintlock was rare, and they were commonly used on sea-based warfare. Pirates had them, and even then, you could shoot somebody, and that damn thing would not hit.
And there were trans people in those days as well, but it's like, that's not even the point. The point is people want to escape. And this looks like Snow White. This looks like it's going to be a fantasy. And I love the comments from Brett Cooper when she did her live stream on Instagram. She said, I love Snow White. It's a tale as old as time with beautiful values. She's feminine, but she's...
I'm going to cut you off for a second.
Yeah. I know they say that as well. That's part of the whole thing too. But she was talking about the values and how she is this wonderful feminine character and being in love and having Prince Charming and love. It was great. The thing she said was so wonderful and so beautiful about the original Snow White and the Snow White books, the Grimm Tales and the original movie, which I loved when I was a kid. I loved it. I thought the original Snow White was great, and it's still great. It's still a great movie.
I want to say this. For the people who don't know the real story of all these princesses that they believe Disney created, no, Disney did not create them. Disney...
He got them from the stories that made animated.
And they altered the story.
He did create Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse
was an original idea.
That's the only original idea.
That is the original idea from Walt Disney. Idea. No, it's not his only, but that was the biggest one.
Walt himself had ideas. They were unique.
Mickey Mouse Disney was just the biggest.
As a company, Walt Disney only had one.
Well, I'm talking about 100 years ago when Disney first got created by Walt Disney. Walt Disney, his original idea was Mickey Mouse, and then he wanted to adapt all the fairy tales and make them readily available to families, to kids, and to have a great time. Because that's where you make money.
Tweak the story as well.
Well, to make it family friendly, but that's where he was going to make the money. And he was creative. He had great ideas.
Walt, 100 years ago, Walt was the type of person who could see a rock and tell you a whole story. Some months, maybe 2 years later, that rock is now a character, unique, creative. It's not even a rock. It's something else.
That's why he won so many Oscars and got an honorary award too. Yeah, I mean he made a whole company from the jump. But this, we don't know if Daily Wire will be a huge success. We don't know if Ben Key will be a huge success. They're just starting out. But on the 100-year anniversary of Disney, they are coming out and they are going to war with Disney. And I hope they make it. I really do. Even though I'm a liberal, I'm a progressive. It's good to have content for a wide variety of people. We can't just have one content made for one demographic. And there are a lot of parents who are also liberal and progressive that don't want their kids to be exposed to this stuff watching a cartoon. They want to tell their kids what this is or what's going on. If I had a child, let's say if I had a daughter who was growing up and she was a lesbian, I would want her to figure that out on her own, but I also would want to teach her what that is. I don't want to
put her in public school.
I don't want her to look at a cartoon and then learn stuff about transgender this and homosexuality, this or human sexual. Like, no, that's not for kids. That's not for kids. Kids need to grow up, and I also for damn sure would keep all this technology away from them until they're 16. Obviously, make sure they're technologically free, so they can know how to read and write.
The only technology I would allow them near would be a typewriter.
That
would be the only.
Yeah, and I would want them to teach them as well in school, to teach them how to read and write, because technology and social media has making kids dumber.
Pervertized.
Well, they're making
it is tainted the minds, the ability.
They're making kids dumber too.
To think.
Did you see that TikTok video? Wait, did you see that TikTok video of those middle school teachers talking about how their kids can't even spell window anymore? Their kids that can't spell window. They can't remember anything they read in a book or in a textbook. They can't compute it because they're exposed to all this technology, and the only way they can learn and compute stuff is through technology instead of paper and pen. That is not good, and that's the fault of the parents. It's not the fault of the teachers.
That is poor parenting.
That's poor parenting. That's the fault of the parents.
A lot of parents today, I'm not saying it's political on either side. It's just in general.
Poor parenting.
Poor parenting. There are people who have children. Their parents, much as many would say they shouldn't be. There are people who are not meant to be parents because they do not have the ability to be a parent, or let alone perform the responsibilities of a parent. The role of a parent is to raise, teach, guide, and lead. And a lot of people are just, I want to spend time with my friends, and here's an iPhone, here's an iPad, do whatever, don't bother me. You're hungry? Okay, let me know when you're hungry. I'll remember to ask you in like 12 hours after I come back from the bar.
And also, the Daily Wire Plus is adapting the Pendragon cycle. And one thing I love about it is that show doesn't have any forced diversity. You don't have any characters from the book being race swapped or gender swapped. It looks like it's going to be a faithful adaptation of those books, and I want to start reading those books to get ready for the show, because the problem with Lord of the Rings of Power was it wasn't just the race swapping and the gender swapping. It was the fact that they would do race swapping, but only for one character, for nobody else. Like, there was only one black Puerto Rican elf in the Lord of the Rings of Power. Only one.
I'm going to say this.
And there was only one black female dwarf. Only one. And it made no sense.
No. I'm going to say this right now. And it's not that it's a racist or premise, whatever, missed, whatever.
Yeah. That's the thing.
Elves only come in two colors, really. They only come in two colors. You either have elves as light as day and the elves gray as ash.
Right.
That's it. Nothing more, nothing less.
Specifically from Tolkien. There are other elves too, but Tolkien specifically set that standard. But also in Middle Earth from Tolkien, the race of men have diversity. There are some race of men that are dark skinned, brown skin as well, and a lot of white people as well. The Lord of the Rings of Power did not want to have diversity that made sense. They just wanted to have diversity that didn't make any sense, and it wasn't Tolkien at all. It wasn't faithful to Tolkien.
I don't even get points for brownies, and they have brownie points.
It wasn't faithful to Tolkien at all. It was just checking off boxes checking out boxes for an ESG rating to make sure that their studio don't get any backlash and lose investors or whatever else because of BlackRock Bank or whoever. It doesn't matter. Daily Wire isn't following any of that, and Daily Wire isn't racist. There's a brother who is a basketball player who plays for the Orlando Magic. Let me look up his name. He wrote a book for the Daily Wire called Why I Stand. He is a Christian. He is African American. He plays for the Orlando Magic. Instead of him kneeling and wearing a Black Lives Matter shirt, he stood up. He stood for God. He stood for people's rights. And he didn't want to wear the Black Lives Matter shirt because he believes that there are many different ways to support your own people, and that doesn't involve kneeling and wearing a Black Lives Matter shirt. He is conservative. He is Christian. He believes in God. He signed a deal with the Daily Wire to write his book called Why I Stand. And let's see his name. Jonathan Isaac. That's his name. Why I Stand, Jonathan Isaac. I'm going to buy this book and read it. But he was doing interviews with Ben Shapiro and talking about his faith in God and being Christian. So if the Daily Wire was racist, why are they doing this? Right? You have to ask the question. It's just common sense. Why do this?
You can't ask that because that's wrong thing.
Yeah, exactly. And
if you are unable to think for yourself, you are not free.
And this is
you are not a person.
And
you are not a creature of love, of life. You are unable to breathe. You are a machine programmed to do exactly as you're told, like a slave. And that's not even because you're black. It's not because you're white. It's because you can't do anything for yourself.
And people on the far right are guilty of this as well. Like Trump supporters especially are the craziest.
It's on both sides.
Both sides.
Regardless of your political spectrum, regardless of the political
and
aisle,
what I was trying to say,
all sides are stupid in the sense that they will do what they're told by somebody else.
And the Daily Wire criticizes Trump supporters too. Trump supporters are the worst. They are the far right is guilty of this as well. Trump supporters and the MAGA supporters are just as delusional, just as ignorant, just as narrow-minded, are not willing to talk to other people and see the other side and have a conversation. And the Daily Wire criticizes that as well. But you can't really call the Daily Wire racist. But I will say this. I will admit this. The Daily Wire knows their audience, and they're trying to appeal to 60% of the population, which is a majority. 60% of the American population.
It's the majority. It's the majority in a business sense, but also in a logical manner. Because if you create the material, the content that is sought for, the product that is desired by any and everyone, you, no matter what aisle you will stand on, you will have an audience.
The majority of the American population, 60% of the American population is white. And so for Daily Wire, making content to appeal to white people in the flyover states and to white conservatives, it is a business thing. It's not just racial. It's a business money-making thing, and that has a huge target audience that will show up. Look at The Sound of Freedom. That was made for white conservatives and conservatives in general. Huge box office success.
I want to say this. In manners such as yourself as a leftist, it's not to get political and call you whatever. In a political sense, it was made for a specific target audience. In a more logical manner of thinking, it was created to tell a story that a specific group of people, Latin Americans, face. That they face on a constant day-to-day basis. Who does it resonate with more? The conservative white guy or the Latin American?
Or the conservative Latin American.
Latinos are conservative by nature.
A lot of them are, yes.
No, by nature. The majority of Latinos are conservative.
Yeah.
By nature.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Because they believe.
No, actually, it depends.
No.
Well, when
in the family,
in the culture, they become more conservative the older they get. When I grew up in San Antonio, the younger generation is less conservative. When they get older, they become more conservative.
The problem is and it's not a problem. It's not a problem.
And that's true.
It's just the way it goes.
That's just the way it goes.
The younger,
but that happens with Latinos a lot.
The next generation, the younger generations of the family line
will
be more liberal.
And then they get older, they become more conservative. I mean, that happens with Latinos a lot.
And Latinos, they don't tend to be in their 30s when they get conservative. They become conservative the moment that they have that job that they really want to hold down.
Or they become parents too.
They become parents.
And they become parents at a young age.
Immediately. Yeah. This is not just Latinos. This is anybody with a sound mind.
But specifically
you become conservative the moment you have something worth holding on to.
But it's also, it does happen a lot with Latino culture. But I will say this: The Sound of Freedom was made for conservatives, box office hit. The Passion of the Christ, made for Christians and conservative, box office hit. American Sniper, made for military Christian conservative, box office hit. So there is a huge market out there that Clint Eastwood and Mel Gibson and Jim Caviezel has tapped into and has had box office success. And the Daily Wire is trying to tap into that. And they could be successful if they tap into it in a really, really right way that is not off-putting or scare anybody. And I think they're doing it the right way because Ben Shapiro is Jewish and he doesn't like the alt-right and white supremacists at all. Even though he says many things I disagree with that I don't like, still, he's doing things in the right way with Daily Wire. And this Snow White movie, it looks like it's non-woke. It looks like it's made for families.
It looks like a perfect adaptation of the books. Though as to how perfect of an adaptation it'll be, I'm curious to see because it looks like a very promising, it looks like a very exciting, very honest, a very straightforward film that I will be able to enjoy.
It looks like it's made by
with
fans.
my youngest siblings, my family.
And it looks like it's made by fans. And it looks like it's made by fans of the material and people that actually love the material. That's the problem with Rachel Zegler. She's just, last year in every interview, she was just constantly shitting on Snow White. And it's like, why?
I wonder, is Rachel Zegler going to be killed off in the film? Like the correct way of the story?
No, they're not doing that. No,
they should.
But they will delay it to May or June. I think they're going to delay it to May or June. Because this movie is going to flop because everyone's going to see Dune Part 2. Everyone's going to see Doom Part 2 in March
Oh,
of next year.
wait.
I'm seeing it. I'm not going to.
South Park.
Oh,
Pandaverse.
I got to see that.
The Pandaverse.
I got to see. Where's it located? Is it on Paramount Plus or HBO Max?
I don't know.
Oh, I got to watch it.
Look it on.
I got to watch it.
But
I got to watch it.
That's going to take a huge bite out of
everything.
Marvels, out of everything
that
comes out.
episode was so like, from what I heard, it was great. And I looked it up, what they were criticizing. I'm like, okay, South Park is genius. They killed Meghan Markle's career. They have ruined Disney's reputation because, and I know Bob Iger's looking at that, which is why they're doing some drastic measures right now to fix their house.
Oh,
you saw what they did with Daredevil Born Again?
Yeah,
they fired everybody.
About time.
They fired all the directors. They fired, like, here's what happened. Kevin Feige looked at the first 4 episodes, and what they were doing with the Daredevil show, they were trying to make it into this law courtroom drama, and he doesn't even put on the suit until episode 4. And he's like, dude, this is so fucking boring. And so he's like, we got to reboot the whole thing and reshoot everything and make a whole new story. So they delayed production into next year. They're getting new directors, new writers, and they're just changing everything. I'm like, guys, you know what? You can get the guys that made the Netflix series, get Drew Goddard and Stephen S. Knight.
They're not going to get them.
You know, get that old cast.
They're not going to
Let's get Rebecca, what's her name? Rebecca Ann Wool. Get her back. Let's get Foggy. I
would love to see.
Let's get him back.
I would love to see Punisher be brought back into.
No, he is coming in. He was supposed to be in Daredevil show. But here's the problem: Kevin Feige, what he saw was terrible, so he's rebooting everything. I'm like, yeah, y'all should have really started doing this. But you know what? In Kevin Feige's defense, and also,
I'm not going to defend him because
no.
I will not defend Kevin Feige.
Even though no. Let me finish.
All right,
I'm not defending the woke Snow White, but in Kevin Feige's defense, I will say this. What he was doing with the MCU Phase 4 and 5, he was experimenting to see if there was an audience for this type of superhero movies and shows and this type of storytelling. He was trying to see. Here's the thing. They were always going to end everything with Secret Wars, Avengers Secret Wars. And they were always going to reboot everything and get back to the basics with Avengers Secret Wars. But he wanted to see if there was an audience for these superheroes and for these characters, and to see if there was something that people like, kind of like what Warner Brothers was doing for the DC Universe app. They were trying to see if there was an audience for these weird, crazy, zany, violent, quirky superheroes shows and movies. They were trying to see that. And overall, just like with the DC Universe app, Kevin Feige mostly failed. Disney mostly failed. And so now they're rebooting, they're changing things, and they're going to get to Avengers Secret Wars, and they're going to reboot everything, which is coming out in 2027. And then they're going to go back to the basics. They're going to bring back Captain America, Iron Man with different actors. They're going to bring back Black Widow and all that stuff. And they're just going to start all over. Everything that went on with Phase 4 and Phase 5 was just an experiment, just like Warner Brothers with the DC Universe app. It was an experiment to see if there was an audience, and there was for Titans, there was for Doom Patrol, and both of those shows got 4 seasons. There was for Stargirl. Stargirl got 3 seasons and moved over to the CW. There was an audience.
So they moved over to Death Row.
But they got 3 seasons.
But regardless, they still moved over to Death Row.
Well, it got renewed for season 2 and 3 and got moved to the CW after season 1. But my point is that
that's
there was
Death Row. CW is Death Row.
Well, still, there was an audience, and it was an experiment, and mostly it failed because most of the shows just didn't make it, except for Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn is a huge success, so there's an audience for that. They put that on HBO Max. Okay,
I'm going to say this. I will not defend Kevin Feige.
Well, I'm defending him on this one.
Feige, whatever.
Just on this one. I'm not defending Disney for Snow White. Kevin Feige.
I'm not going to defend him for the reason that
I'm defending him on that.
Phase 4 was a clear disappointment.
It was a clusterfuck.
He continued to
Phase 5 is worse. Phase 5
and instead of acknowledging right off of Phase 4 not to do it, he wanted to continue going further. So
I'm not defending him for the quality. I'm defending him for the strategy. I think the strategy, what he tried to do to see if there was an audience for all this, has been a failed strategy. But they made so much money over the span of 11 years that he could afford the money and the capital to experiment, screw up, lose money here or there, and then reboot everything in 4 years. But I'm not defending the quality because Secret Invasion was god awful. Secret Invasion was the worst Marvel MCU show ever created. Oh, it was absolute dog shit.
Does that mean that
it was worse than She-Hulk?
Does that mean Nick Fury's not going to be black anymore? He's going to be white again?
No, he's still going to be black. Yeah, and I love Samuel Jackson's Nick Fury.
I'm not against it, but if they're going to reboot it, they might as well change it.
No. They're just rebooting the MCU. They're not going back to everything being comic book form. Right.
They should.
Right.
They
But
should.
no, but I love Samuel Jackson.
Pure form's best form.
I love Sam Jackson's Nick Fury because they made a Nick Fury based on Sam Jackson 23 years ago to get Samuel Jackson to play Nick Fury, and that strategy worked, and it worked brilliantly. But I will say, yeah, it was just it was a failed experiment. And Phase 5 is worse because Secret Invasion was god awful, and Loki season 2 is not much better.
I have no faith in Marvel anymore. Marvel died out the moment that
too much content, too much bad content.
No, Infinity War for me was the finale. Endgame was just the pure finale.
Yeah, Endgame was it.
And then it became disjointed because you had to stick.
And the Marvels is going to flop too. And because Captain Marvel was not beloved, I liked the movie, but it wasn't great. The Marvels is most likely going to flop. It's going to have an opening weekend of $75 million, which means the Hunger Games movie with Rachel Zegler could actually be more successful, especially since that Hunger Games movie is not expensive at all. So
back to Snow White versus Snow White.
All right, Snow White versus woke Snow White. I think my prediction for next year, the woke Snow White movie by Disney will flop at the box office, especially competing with Dune Part 2. So they might delay it to Memorial Day weekend in May or in June and have it premiere at the Cannes Film Festival. And they'll get another bludgeoning like what they got last year this year at Cannes Film Festival. I think the Snow White and the Evil Queen on Bentley from Daily Wire will be more successful for Daily Wire. I think it will bring in subscribers. I already want to subscribe. When I get paid in November, I'm going to subscribe, and I'm going to watch it next year. I'm going to watch The Pendragon. I'm going to watch some of Daily Wire's movies like Terror on a Prairie and Shut In and something else. And
I'm going to say this.
I want to see movies from a different perspective.
I'm going to say this because not everybody knows this. The Disney princess stories are all lies. They are based off the Brothers Grimm story tales.
They're for kids. And so is this. This is going to be for kids too.
No. But it is. But most of the princess movies that are told now today are lies. They have a different story altogether. In the Brothers Grimm stories, there's no happy endings.
Right, it's true. Disney had to make money.
Did Belle and the Beast get together? Sort of. She had quite a meal.
Yeah, right. But I mean,
did
Red Riding Hood too.
Did Red Riding Hood find Grandma?
Yeah, but she died. She died
at the cost of dinner.
At the cost of dinner, she died.
But, what about Princess? The Sleeping Beauty. She woke up to being a mother after falling asleep to flower effect pollen. Who's another princess? What about Ariel? She turns into sea foam because the prince marries the witch. Yes, these aren't happy stories.
Right, they're life lessons and they're very dark.
They're very dark life lessons, and on top of it all, if you are someone who is hungry for literature, read these stories because these stories are told in a manner that is actually far more entertaining than what you'll find in movies, theaters, and TV shows and streaming platforms today. Because today they play it safe. These stories took a chance at a time when they were very popular, very much in demand.
But Disney, Walt Disney, the way he adapted those stories, changed the endings to make it more uplifting for a family audience and for kids.
No, of course,
I think the way he did it was brilliant, and that's the way Bentley's going to do it. But Bentley is trying to make family kids content without the political agenda, and I support the LGBTQIA community. I support I support gay people, trans rights, gay rights, the whole 9 yards. But these are kids, and kids should allow to be kids and let them figure things out on their own. And I think Disney wanting to have the gay agenda with everything, have gay characters everywhere, I just don't think that's good for kids because it confuses kids. Because then kids start asking questions like, am I gay? Am I bisexual? Am I a lesbian? And I'm like, they're kids. Hold on, let me finish. When I was a kid, I knew I was into women when I was 5, 6 years old. The first time I saw Aliens with the beautiful queen, the mother queen, she was so fucking hot. And I knew that when I was a kid. And so I knew I was into women. Even though I was an alien, it was a xenomorph. I knew I was into women. I knew I was into women when I knew I was into women the moment that my penile, when I was a child, stood up for a moment. It felt tingly. I was like, what the heck is that? Yeah, I knew I was into women when I knew I was into women. Well, I was wondering, what is a penile? That's your penis. Yeah, I know. All right. No need to get graphic, but I was into women. Graphic! I was into women when my dad showed me Conan the Barbarian when I was a kid.
Oh, thank God someone knows that. Oh,
and
most people they don't know that.
and I thought,
how dare you?
and I thought the
offended.
I thought the evil witch was fucking hot. I thought Conan's girlfriend who gets killed.
Even better.
I thought Conan's girlfriend who dies in the movie was fucking hot. And so I knew at 5, 6 years old I was into chicks. Now, of course, my dad was showing me those R-rated movies, which he shouldn't have. He did it behind my mom's back, but that's just the way it is.
Listen.
Those are the old days.
When Dad showed
my dad used to let me drink a can of beer when I was a kid. Those are the old manly days.
When your dad when fathers show their sons rated R graphic books and videos, that's a sign that Dad knows what that child is going to do in the future.
Yeah.
And he's guiding him onto a
I don't recommend
path.
fathers doing that. Please don't do that. I won't do that. But still, it was.
I'm not trying to validate.
My dad was fun.
It led me onto a good path. I'm very respectful.
My dad was fun. My dad was he was a fun dad when he wanted to be. But yeah, I'm glad that Bentley is just making stuff for kids, and it's just fun stuff. I just watched what's the cartoon called again? Called Chippa something. Isn't that it right there? Yeah, but I don't have the name.
Oh.
There we go. Okay. Chipchilla. It's good. It's good. It's for kids. For kids. There's the first episode is educating kids on the moon landing. The second episode is educating kids on the news and how newspapers got created and how to report on the news. It's just very innocent, sweet stuff. I like it. And then I want to watch A Wonderful Day with Mabel McClay. I want to watch that later. But yeah, it's just very sweet stuff.
Listen, when you have a product that's marketed towards a specific demographic, and that is being children, and the content itself is just sweet, innocent things, it's going to be a successful platform no matter what.
Well, hopefully.
Well, yes. I pray.
We can only hope.
I pray it does. I hope it does. I pray it does. What I believe this is going to be what overthrows Disney, because Disney no longer has the ability to tell stories. They don't have the ability to be creative. They don't have the ability to create anything with imagination.
They're creatively bankrupt. All this stuff is new. All this stuff on Bentley is new. That's the problem with Disney. They're not making, they are with Wish. Maybe Wish will be a success. But Disney is not making anything new. And I like the Wish trailer. The problem is that the message, it makes me feel like the villain's not much of a villain. Because the villain doesn't want everybody to get every single wish. I'm like, yeah, that's actually a good thing, because not everybody should be getting their wishes all the time, because those wishes can be dangerous. And she wants everybody to get a wish. And her personality is the same personality of every female character in Disney since Tangled. All the female characters have the same female personality. And on Wish, it's no different. They're kind of going back to basics with the movie, but I just don't know.
You mean to tell me that the female personality is the same boring, old, tired trope of a woman who can do everything, doesn't need a man, but needs a man at the end?
Yeah. But that was great with Frozen 1 and 2.
Frozen 1 and 2 did it great. Yeah. No, but
and Tangled, I love.
Wait, what happened to Girl Boss? Disney said that women don't need men in their life.
Yeah, they got to do something with their messaging and their how they're promoting this shit, because it's turning liberals off. There was a gay man on TikTok who was complaining about Rachel Zegler's feminist views as actually anti-feminist by being anti-romance and anti-love. And this guy is like, I want a Prince Charming to save me too. Like, even that guy got it. Like,
listen,
he gets it.
Listen, Rachel Zegler does not want love in her life. She wants to be
but that's the problem.
She wants to be the crazy old cat lady.
No, but
let her be the crazy old cat lady.
But that's the
Give
problem.
her a movie where she stars in as a crazy old cat
lady. But that's the problem.
She'll have achieved her dream.
But that's the problem. What she says and what she does in her personal life are the complete opposite. She is in love. She is in love with her boyfriend, who she says is the best boyfriend in the world, who supports her and loves her, and she says she's in love, and she supports love. So what I'm saying is, what she said last year. Let me finish. What she said last year and what she does in her personal life are two completely different things, and it makes no sense to me, and it drives me crazy. But go ahead.
I want to say this. Rachel Zegler, boyfriend, if you're watching and listening to this, don't harass. Dip and go. She's not for you.
No, but
she is a poisonous wench who will drain you of the very foundation of your life.
No, but I feel like the way she presents herself is okay, but how she is in her personal life is very different. And
well, of course,
I've seen it
because she gets to act like she's a the famous
No, I feel
bestest, most
no,
wonderful thing ever.
but what I'm saying is, I feel like the way she's acting in interviews and what she's saying is because Disney is telling her to act that way, and then it's okay. And let's face it, if Disney is telling you to do something they want, you're going to do it, especially at a young age. And it's just not translating well at all.
Ladies and gentlemen, if your children were stars in any Disney projects, programs, make sure they see someone, investigate their livelihood, and find out what they had to go through while they were children becoming stars on a Disney show and a Disney series. In fact, you know what you should do? Make sure you get them tested out for any cases in case they were assaulted by any Disney staff and or writers.
Okay, but so what it's just like she's acting a certain way because Disney is telling her to act that way. And I feel like in her personal life, she's not really like that. And I feel like it's ruining her career. Like Disney is inadvertently hurting her career before it really gets started. And that's really sad. Because I'm looking forward to the Ballad of Songbird and Snakes, the new Hunger Games movie. That book is amazing. I'm looking forward to the movie.
I'm not feeling sad for her.
I think the movie should be good.
She chose the bed to lie in. She's lying in that bed, and it's unfortunate that bed now has a giant pile of feces.
You know what? I think Disney is going to change their strategy starting next year. Before Snow White comes out, they're going to talk to her and they're going to be like, "Listen, we can't do this. You can't talk like this. Just say nothing but great things about Snow White." But the Snow White movie looks like trash. There's not even going to be any seven dwarfs. There's not even going to be any seven dwarfs. There's no seven dwarfs. There's one dwarf, and all the other characters are these supernatural fucking characters. And I'm like, what is this?
You have to understand, it's called Snow White and the Seven Magical Hobos.
That's what it's called. That's might as well what it's called, but it's not even called that. It's just called Snow White. Also, there's no seven dwarfs because of political stuff.
No, Peter Dinklage. Peter Dinklage got the whole political shit involved and basically blackballed every other.
No, but the problem was that they started filming long before he said anything. And they got one dwarf and then seven magical people who look like they're homeless. They look like they should be on the street.
It's called Snow White and the Seven Magical Hobos. That's what the name of the movie's called. And if they change it, it's because they realize they can't have hobos in the title.
It looks so bad. It just looks so bad. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what to tell you.
I wonder if we're going to get the scene where Snow White's in the car and the hobos go, "Can you change?"
This is weird postmodernism they're doing with Snow White, where we got to subvert everything to an audience that we think will want to watch this because they think Twitter is the general population.
I'm very much glad that Elon Musk bought Twitter because now people have to realize Twitter is not our target audience anymore. It never was.
They think SJWs is the majority of the audience when in reality they're not. They might like the message and the political stuff, but they are not going to watch this stuff because they don't care. They're not into this stuff.
Listen. It's unfortunate that SJWs tend to be one group, and you can all label them under one decade of which they were born. They're millennials. They're Gen Y. I'm a Gen Y child. I despise the term millennial. I despise SJW. I despise progressivism. I despise wokeness. And that's because I have a brain, and I've always thought against society, against the crowd. What are you watching?
I was just looking at something.
But if you're unable to reason with your own mind as a corporate leader, as a visionary, as an entertainer, as an animator, as an artist, as a storyteller, then you were not meant for that very career you're pursuing, because you are incapable of taking the leap of faith and the risk to test the bounds of how far your wings can spread.
Right.
And this is coming from somebody who, despite my own health issues, despite my life, I will tell you exactly what I think, how I think, when I think, what I feel, how I feel. I will not tell anybody. I will not allow anyone to dictate anything for me, lest it be something I am able to agree with personally. Not politically, not economically, not groupthink or right think. Forget all that. I believe in individuality, individualism, and the ability to be able to be oneself. Even if it means going against a grain of sand, it means going upstream while everyone's going downstream.
I think also people just want to escape. People want to be entertained. They want entertainment. They want to see something that's great. They don't want to. I mean, there are people who are activists who are on the left that have to deal with politics every day, and they just want to sit back and just chill, play a video game, or watch a movie and watch a TV show.
Listen,
and not have to deal with everything they deal with in real life.
No, escapism is just that. It's a realm to escape reality. And if you are making escapism based off of reality and has all the fundamental elements of reality, it is no longer called escapism. Expect your work, your IP, your creation, your project to fail, to flop, to burn, crash, harder than Icarus reaching the sun.
Right.
And I don't want to make the other comment because the other comment is about a flight. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to head out. I'm going to give me something to eat, something to drink. I am going to go because my computer is dying.
Yeah, and this is great. I think the woke Snow White will flop at the box office.
I believe woke white Snow Woke is gonna fail.
The woke Snow White is gonna flop. I think this new Snow White movie will be very successful.
I think the Bentley Snow White is gonna do way better.
Bent Key. I think Bent Key Snow White will do better for Bent Key. I think it will bring in subscribers. They already got a subscriber in me starting next month. Yeah, I'm gonna start subscribing to the Daily Wire because as much as I love liberal progressive television and stuff that's politically in the middle, I'm also kind of tired of seeing the same thing. I want to see what the right is making, what conservatives are making, and what they're into, and what are their tastes. Because it's good to appeal to everybody to make money.
Yes,
obviously.
If you're a business person, if you're for money and making money, you would want to make them. You want to get the majority audience. You forget the minority, 10%, 2%, whatever it is. Forget them. They're not, a couple chump change buckets won't make a difference out of millions. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Steve. This is Steve Stall's Nerd Talk.
Yep, this is Brian J's Nerd Talk. Good to make two videos.
Thank you for putting up with me for another video.
Yep, this is great, y'all. Live long and prosper. Have a good night.